Welcome. I have a question for you. I'd like to ask, do you dread or think about dreading the fact of moving your aging loved one, whether it's your mom or your dad or your grandparents, uh, and you're just dreading that because of all the stuff? Well, hello and welcome to Tuesday Tips. My name is Pam Dunwald. I am one of your nurse advocates from Your Nurse Advocates Consulting, and we are here today to talk about a senior's guide to downsizing and decluttering before an inevitable move. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about we are in the last week of promoting and registering for our Senior Care Summit 2024. And we do have a special speaker, Sara Washburn. She owns her company Piece by Piece, and that's PEACE by PIECE. So she is a downsizing and decluttering expert specifically with seniors. And she is going to be speaking at our summit and doing the topics. So she's going to get into a lot of the how-tos, how to go about it, what does it look like, what to do with all the stuff, what do you do with the memorabilia. So she's going to get into all the how-tos. And what we wanted to just talk about today to get people interested and excited about learning about downsizing is to talk a little bit about the emotional aspects of downsizing and decluttering for an aging loved one. And, that can be a moving can be a stressful and emotional experience for anyone, but, it can be especially challenging to our seniors who they've just accumulated a lifetime of memories and possessions. So as we age, we may need to move into a smaller home. Maybe it's to assisted living or a nursing home. This can be really a daunting and emotional process, and it's not uncommon for them to consider moving. Maybe they're going to be moving in with you or other family members or friends. So that's why it's really super important just to approach this downsizing and decluttering with a lot of compassion and empathy. So we're going to talk a little bit about the family dynamics that go into parting with some of these items that have some sentimental value. And I know Sarah's going to address this topic as well in more depth during her presentation. So let's go ahead and jump in. So, it's important to understand that downsizing and decluttering, it just isn't about the physical objects. It's really an emotional process for our seniors and their families. It's common for seniors to feel a sense of loss or even grief, when parting with items, that hold special memories and sentimental value, especially if they've had friends or relatives or a spouse that's passed away. I mean, some of these things may even at that time hold more of a dear value to it. But, I think first of all, it's really essential to recognize that downsizing is a process. It's not an event. It's not like, okay, guys, come on over Saturday. We're going to go through grandma's stuff and we're going to get all organized and packed up and, we got to get her ready to move. So we're going to get this all done in one day. And I mean, if you take that approach, I mean, you're possibly setting yourself up for failure. It's just, it takes time. And the best way to do it is just to slow down. So it's really, really essential to start early, early as in months or years, to give your loved one a time to adjust and make decisions at their own pace. You want to encourage them to focus on the memories and experiences associated with their possessions. And this oftentimes, may be part of what takes a while. They may look at an item and they're going to reminisce and they're going to remember what that item was from. And then you have to give them time to process before you say, you know what, Mom, is this something that you really need to hang on to? Or, does this, do you think we can not take it with it? And like I said, Sarah's going to get into a lot of the details with some other ideas about memorabilia. So I don't want to take away and steal her thunder with all the good things that she's going to share. So we're still just going to continue on some of that emotional stuff. So again, go slow, give them time to process, give them time to go through all their belongings, encourage them to, like we said, focus on the memories and those experiences that are associated with those possessions rather than, just the items themselves. The items might not hold as much value as actually the memory. So how do you store those memories? So you want to allow the seniors to, reminisce. We talked about that over, maybe they want to share stories. So this is another thing. And the more you rush them, the more they're going to feel insignificant, the more they're going to feel diminished, the more they're going to feel that you really don't care about all these things that they've accumulated, so they can feel disrespected as well. So it's really critical to create a positive and supportive environment, that encourages our seniors to declutter rather than, forcing them to do it. Ma, we've been here for 2 hours and we've only got through 2 boxes. Come on, we got to speed this up a little bit. So-and-so's got to do this. I got to get to work, or I got to go home and feed the kids. That's not the time to rush them. Again, you're going to meet with more resistance, and it's going to make for a bad day and possibly some arguments. So, as caregivers and family members, it's really important to approach this process, as we said before, with empathy and understanding. If you say like, oh, you don't need this, we're just going to get rid of it. Get ready for a battle, because they're going to say, no, that's mine. You don't have a right to throw it away. Ma, you haven't used this in 10 years. Just get rid of it. And it can just make for a very stressful and unpleasant situation. And then they're going to dig in and they're going to quit, and they're going to say, you know what, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I can't do this anymore today. And now you've got to restart the conversation all over again, as far as, okay, we know we got to go through these, and it's just going to be more stalling techniques after that if it ends on a bad note. So just think slower. Don't expect to tackle decades of stuff in one day. That's just not really realistic if you want it to go more positive. Another strategy is focus on the positive aspects of downsizing. Maybe it's an opportunity to talk about simplifying their living space, creating a more manageable environment for them, allowing them to maybe age in place longer. So try and look at what are some of the positive things of downsizing. Another important aspect of downsizing and decluttering is involving the family in the process. It's essential really to understand that the decision to part with possessions is really, really personal, and it's important to respect your loved one's choices. So encourage them to involve the family members in the process, and consider creating a plan that kind of outlines who will receive certain items. My mother-in-law and my grandmother-in-law, they really had a unique technique for this type of situation. So before my grandmother-in-law passed away, she started years ago when people would be over. If somebody had took a particular liking to an item that she had in her house, or it had special meaning to them, or maybe this was something that they gave grandma, she would take a piece of masking tape and she would write that person's name on it and tape it to that item in an inconspicuous, space. So you're not looking at, while it's sitting in her home, you're not looking at this piece of masking tape with someone's name on it. But that made it very easy, so that when she passed away, any item that had someone's name on it, that went to that person. And all the rest of her belongings that didn't have a name on them, she wanted everyone. We went with her estate sale, went to the auction, and then any of us kids wanted something, we bid on it, and we purchased it at the auction. And some people might think that's kind of weird to make someone pay for something, but it was a way for people couldn't get upset about it. If grandma had something that had your name on it, you knew it was yours, and no one argued with it, because that was grandma's choice. Grandma had decided, so no one's going to argue with your loved one if they're the ones making the choice who it goes to. What happens where the fighting is when there isn't any, it isn't identified or specified who's going to get what, and then everybody's fighting about why they should be the one to get it. So this is a really neat technique to help reduce any potential of friction, knowing that that someone's name is already on that particular item. And then it is. If you want it bad enough, pay for it, bid until, it gives everybody an equal chance then to determine what value they put on this and how much money they're willing to spend to get grandma's items. So my mother-in-law has been doing this all along. My mother-in-law is going to be 90 in April, and we're very fortunate to still have her with us. But she has also taken up that practice from grandma. So she has a lot of things with people's names on them as well. So, with this method, we talked about no one's going to argue with that. And I just wanted to share a story. My father-in-law, on the other hand, was very close to one of his sisters. And after they lost their mom, everybody, some of the siblings got into a fight over who gets what. And it caused a really, really severe barrier between some of the siblings. And my father-in-law and his sister really didn't have a good relationship after that. And that was really a shame because they had been very close. My mother-in-law would tease and she'd say, she can't remember going on a date where his sister wasn't with, and that's how close they were. And then to see them at not even barely speaking, and it even spilled into over when my father-in-law passed away, whether or not, they didn't even show up to his funeral. So, you don't want those things to happen in your family. So take the time now to do whatever you can to try and prevent that from happening by maybe you come up with your own special way within your family. But again, these conversations need to start sooner than later. So, at your Nurse Advocate Consulting, we really understand, all these complexities and challenges of aging, caring for aging loved ones, and caregiving. And that's why we decided to host our Senior Care Summit 2024 this year, because we wanted to show, as nurse advocates, one of our big roles is to identify needs and find the appropriate resources. So in order to showcase, some of the things that we do and to give you something of value and to give you kind of a leg up, maybe you don't need some of these resources today, but 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, you might, and then you would have this library of all these resources that you could use that are available to you that a lot of people don't know exist. So that's what our Senior Care Summit is all about. We're bringing together 28 topics and speakers. We've got bonuses, so we're actually having another 6 more. We've divided them into 5 categories depending on areas of need. We've got doctors and lawyers and nurse practitioners and people like Sara that are going to help us with downsizing and decluttering. So it's not only medical and health, it's all these supportive type things that can help you that maybe some of these resources you haven't thought of. So, in addition to our guest speakers, we'll be sharing resources on topics to also support caregivers. That's huge. We know what a significant role that you play in caring for an aging loved one. And we believe that by working together, we can create a community of support and understanding for seniors and their families. So thanks for stopping by again today at Tuesday Tips. And I don't see, if you have any questions or anything, I can hang on just for a couple of minutes and feel free to put a question in the comment section from our Facebook page. And we are also live from our forum, which is Speaking Out on the Care of Your Aging Parents. And that is a private Facebook group where we gather and we also share other tips and strategies and have discussions on how to care for your aging parents. I'll give you an example. Thursdays, we do open office. So we'll be there live in the chat and we can also start a private messenger chat for those that have some specific questions, and we can get those answered for you during our Thursday live Q&A. So get on, come join us over at the forum. Again, it's a private Facebook group called Speaking Out on the Care of Your Aging Parents. We'd love to have you a part of your community and love to be able to share resources with you. Take care, and we will see you next time.